It's interesting. I'm not hearing audio at the moment. But it might be. All right. Well, here we are. It's another Saturday, and welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks. It's actually been 3 weeks since we've been on the air, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a couple of minutes. But it's good to be here. Want to welcome you all to another fun Saturday, with Coffee Breaks with Steve. And so I just want to let you get settled in, put on the brakes, grab a cup of coffee, and join the conversation because we got a special episode of Coffee Breaks with Steve. All right, welcome. I'm glad you're here, man. I was having a little bit. I'll fill you in on all the details, but we are live on location. This is something that we planned for several weeks, and just anytime we're setting up in a different setting, it's always interesting. And I'm trying to make sure all my equipment's working. So thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. Good morning, Jerry Thompson, Jay Zettervalt, Jason Wheelock. It's good to see people on here. And as you join the conversation, make sure that you say hello in the chat. Do my best to keep an eye on the chat and say hello to you as well. And yes, indeed, we are broadcasting live today. First time that we've tried something like this. We have been on the road and broadcast before from private residences as we've gone to different places. But this is the first time that we've actually been live on location at a commercial establishment, going over Wi-Fi, which is always a little bit touchy when you're in a public place on public Wi-Fi. So let's all keep our fingers crossed that the broadcast continues. We don't have any major glitches. If we do, we just roll with it. If we lose you because the Wi-Fi drops out, then I'll just say now, see you next week. No, I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, we just always kind of hold our breath with this type of thing. I see Brenda Durnell is on here. Good morning, Brenda. Lila, good morning. Lila Swafford. Kathy Garlick is here. So yes, we are on location. Today is Saturday, July 9th, 2022. We are going to be talking about local and independently owned coffee shops today, which is a kind of a fun thing for me because I like them. It's nothing. I still enjoy, by the way, the big name national, international coffee chains, and I frequent them. But we also love to find, in whatever neighborhood we are living in or visiting, we like to find the local shops. It's kind of like supporting local business, right? So we like to find the local coffee shops, independently owned coffee shops. And right after we moved to Spokane, in February of this year, Carol and I noticed that right down the hill from our family, we were staying with family, as you may recall, for the first few months. And right down the hill was this cool place called Rocket Bakery that is obviously not only a bakery, but a coffee shop. And so I think in the first week that we were here, we tried it out. Loved it immediately, started to get to know the baristas right away. And I've gotten to the point where now we come in here probably at least 2 or 3 times a week. Not only do they have great coffees, they have the regular just brewed coffee, but a lot the lattes and the mochas and all the things that you would be looking to get at your specialty coffee shop. And just a bunch of freshly baked goods. They bake all of their own pastries. They have breakfast and lunch items that you can get, salads and a variety of things. We'll share a little bit about that. But we have come to love Rocket Bakery. The staff here. I want to start by just giving a special shout out and thank you to Christine Gerhard, manager of the Rocket Bakery here on Argonne, and the staff here for letting us come in and do this, for treating us so well all the time. We really do feel like family. I mean, after I think the first time we were in here, when we came back in, they knew our names. they treated us like family, and every time we come in, we feel that way. And so a shout out and thank you to all of them. And let's see, who else do I see on here? It's joining. Carissa's on here. Carissa's actually sitting right across the table from me, directing today. And we've got family at the house, I think, watching. Rod Garlic, good morning. Kathy McCormick, good morning. Ellen McCormick, good morning, everybody. And again, if you are just signing in, make sure you join the conversation. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about our local places. I want you to think about, if you're a person, now some of you are not necessarily coffee drinkers, but you may still have that local place that you go to. You sit down and maybe while other people are ordering the coffees, you order a tea. You may order get a soft drink and a pastry. Maybe like Rocket Bakery is, where it's a combination of the beverages and the baked goods, and you enjoy that. I want to hear about your local establishments. We've kind of done that kind of throughout, I think, our lives. We've looked for those places. Anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. Got some special days I wanted to mention. Today, July 9th, is National Sugar Cookie Day. I didn't grab a sugar cookie this morning, but I did grab a snickerdoodle to take home. And kind of I think of snickerdoodles as being kind of sugar cookie plus. But anyway, today is National Sugar Cookie Day. If you're into sugar cookies, this would be the day to eat them. Although obviously you can eat a sugar cookie anytime you like. You have my permission. What else do we have? Monday, the 11th, is National Blueberry Muffin Day. Going with the baked goods theme, it appears this week, which is appropriate considering where we are at, where we're broadcasting from this morning. What else do we have here? I'm just checking comments, connections used on here. And the 12th is this one, is personal. Different Colored Eyes Day. I don't think it's a national day. I don't think there's been any kind of a bill in Congress or presidential proclamation, but it's just Different Colored Eyes Day. There's actually a name for that. It's called heterochromia. And I actually am a person with heterochromia. I have one brown eye and one blue eye. I don't know how much it shows up. See if you can see it in this light. It shows up, there's enough daylight coming through. It shows up best in direct sunlight. But I've had it my entire life, heterochromia. There are some famous people who have or had heterochromia. David Bowie, Jane Seymour, Max Scherzer, Christopher Walken, all have heterochromia. You typically think of seeing cats or animals that have the two different colored eyes, but some of us humans occasionally have that too. So the 12th is Different Colored Eyes Day. I know I'll be celebrating in some fashion. I have no clue what I'll be doing to celebrate that. It's there. What are you going to do? And also, sticking again with the baked theme, the 12th is Pecan Pie Day. Brenda is on here. Brenda, I know, is a pie baker. And Brenda, is pecan pie one of yours? Is that one of your specialties that you do? And if so, are you going to be baking pecan pie this week, specifically on Wednesday? No, Tuesday is Pecan Pie Day. So just checking in on that. I don't think Chelan's on here, so everybody drink. Wednesday the 13th, Barbershop Music Appreciation Day. You know that I'm really into music, have been involved in choir and choral music much of my life. And so I love barbershop music. One of my favorites, I love to find, you can find on YouTube, you find these groups that do barbershop competitions, and some of the things they do these days, it's not always a quartet, right? Sometimes now you have entire choirs that are doing, in some cases mixed, in some cases all female or all male. But there are some of these groups now, you can find them on YouTube. Look for the national or international barbershop competition videos and some of the things that they are doing visually in addition to just the music, but the harmonies that go into barbershop music. Kathy, my sister Kathy, I think, was involved in a group a few years back that did, and Kathy, you can correct me on this. I know it was a quartet or a quintet, but I thought that I recalled that you did some barbershop types of arrangements at that time. And others of you on here, probably been involved in barbershop groups. So share if you have and why it was special for you. Also on Wednesday, the 13th, is Embrace Your Geekness Day. Kind of like the Different Colored Eyes Day, I have to personally relate to Embrace Your Geekness Day. I've been a card carrying geek my entire life. I remain I remain one. Chris is over there chuckling knowingly. My family knows it quite well. I think all of you on here, you've met me in person, I think, in every case. So you know that I'm not making that up. I am a geek, a nerd, a weirdo, a quirky person. And so I will be embracing my geekness on Wednesday, which, again, as I say, with a lot of these special days, why do you need one day a year? I embrace my geekness every day, whether the people around me appreciate it or not. Everybody drink. Also on Wednesday, National French Fries Day. The national days are supposed to be, if it says national, the idea is supposed to be that there's been some kind of a proclamation officially making it a holiday or a special day. Sometimes these days just show up on calendar, somebody's promoting them, and they just throw the word national in front, and there's no proof that there was ever anything official by Congress, by the president, by a local official to make it a day. I guess if it was a local official, it wouldn't be national, it would just be local. But anyway, it's supposedly National French Fries Day. I may have glanced when I was pulling this up. I don't know if that's official in any way or if it's just the potato farmers and the French fry manufacturers who are pushing this. The 14th, Thursday, is Bastille Day. For those of you who have French in your DNA or your family's genealogy, I salute you. Of course, Bastille Day is the day, that's the 14th of July, July 14th in 1789. That was the start of the French Revolution. It was really inspired initially by the American Revolution some 13, 14 years before. And it started to create, because we allied with France, asked France to join us in our fight for independence from Britain. Well, that sparked some things within France itself. Among the different classes, you had the bourgeoisie and you had the proletariat, and you had these people who felt like, there were the haves and the have-nots, and there was a monarchy, and they rose up. And if you are aware of things like Les Miserables and other stories, you know about elements of that revolution. Anyway, I'm rambling on because I obviously need more of this. I've had more. But that Bastille Day is the 14th. Also, on the same day, the 14th, National Macaroni and Cheese Day and Shark Awareness Day. The three, as near as I can tell, there's nothing that really ties them together, but you can celebrate any or all of those on the 14th. Then the 15th, a couple of really important things that we can celebrate on the 15th. We have Tapioca Pudding Day. Now, tapioca pudding is one of those things. I don't know anybody that's neutral about tapioca pudding. You either like it or you hate it. The people I've met throughout my life are either, I love tapioca pudding, or they are wondering how many tapiocas were killed to make the pudding and stay away from it. For some people, they're going, I probably shouldn't even say this on the air while people are eating or drinking, but they wonder why people put maggots in pudding. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. But that's true for some people. But let's change gears a little bit. The other thing that we can celebrate on the 15th is, wait, I see, Alan, I had to stop just for a second because I'm looking at some of the comments here. And Alan put up, we were talking about the 14th. That's when France declared National French Fry Day. I hadn't thought about that, but you have Bastille Day and you had French Fry Day there. Thank you, Alan. And then also, though, on the 15th, we have Cow Appreciation Day. I appreciate cows. We have a fun game that we play when we're driving. It actually started with the grandkids, but I think I just do it all the time. My wife, Carol, would say I do it even when no one else but she and I are in the car. In fact, if I'm really honest, I do it when I'm the only one in the car. But we started this thing some years back where if we're passing a field with cows, isn't there something that everybody does that if you're passing a field of cows, you shout out cows? Everybody yells out cows. For some reason, you have to announce it. Like there's either nobody else is going to notice it or there is some special significance to that. Well, I took it a step further. And as we pass the field, we have to wave at the cows to let them know that we're friendly so they won't stampede. That's what we've told the grandkids. So when we're passing a field of cows, oh, wave at the cows so they don't stampede. And I've got most of the grandkids doing that now. It's really cool. Listen, as a grandparent, that's part of my job. I got to get the grandkids to do weird things, then send them home. You're welcome. Um, Personal special days. The 12th, which is on Tuesday, is mine and Carol's wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary, sweetheart. We will be celebrating 42 years of marriage on Tuesday. And I still like her. I still love her. Strangely enough, she says she still likes me. Again, considering how much I embrace my geekness and wave at cows, I'm surprised. But 42 years later, so happy anniversary to us. And then on the 14th is happy birthday to Shalane. Our daughter, Shalane, turns 36. I'm ratting her out on her age, but I think she has that posted on her Facebook, what year she was born. But yeah, the Cheech, who is not on here today. For all I know, she's out. She may be out celebrating already. I don't know. Yeah. And Jerry Thompson wonders if sharks like mac and cheese. So this is the thing about announcing all these days and how they may overlap. I think we find some great synergies in some of these days when we post them. If you have a special day, I've just been rambling on. This is what happens when you go on location. If everybody, Jason says, everybody Cheech. That's right. There can be only one. I was going somewhere with all of that. I have no clue. Oh, if you have a special day this week, wow. If you have a special day this week, please put it in the chat so we can celebrate it with you. If it's a birthday, an anniversary of your own. Hang on a second. Just one of those days, people. If you have a special day, though, we want to celebrate it with you. If you have a special day coming up, we got a variety of July and August birthdays and anniversaries in the next few weeks to celebrate with family and with friends. But if you have one this week, I haven't mentioned it, put it in the chat. If you have one coming up later in July or even in August, and you want to make sure that you get that information to me so that you get your 15 seconds of fame on Coffee Breaks with Steve when I announce it, and send me a message or email me with that information as well. All right. We're going to change gears here. We're going to talk about our local independently owned coffee shops today. And I mentioned already, we like to do those. And again, I'm going to make it clear. I'm not naming the name, but there is a big name coffee company that started in Seattle and spread out literally all over the world. I found these in Asia, in Europe, and other places, but definitely find them all around the country. And I do have my specialty drinks. I still go to the big name national, international coffee places and get my beverage and get something to eat. And if we're traveling we were on a big road trip last week and found those places along the way. And but we like to frequent the local places. By the way, I'm switching brain waves here for a minute. I told you I would let you know why we were coming back after being off the air for a couple of weeks. Last week, we were off the air because we were traveling. We had our grandson, Nicholas, who many of you know. We visited Reading, or Nicholas has been here. We've done coffee breaks. Nicholas frequently joins me at the end of coffee breaks and shares some dinosaurs and talks about what he's been doing. Anyway, we had family come to town about 3 weeks ago to celebrate with us that Shalane was graduating with her master's degree from Eastern Washington University. I think that was the last Saturday that I was on with coffee breaks, and we talked about it that day. A variety of family in town. We surprised Shalane. Carissa and Jason and their little girl Carson came into town and surprised her. Christopher, our son Christopher, with Nicholas, flew into town a few days before, and then Christopher flew back home, and we kept Nicholas here for another week and did some fantastic adventures with our grandson. And then last week we took a 1,700-mile total road trip from Spokane through Portland back to Reading to take Nicholas home, and then turned around the next day, headed back, stopped in Ashland, Oregon. lovely artistic city, back to Portland and back to Spokane, 1,700 miles. That's why we were not on the air last Saturday, because we were traveling during that time. The Saturday before, which was this broadcast, it was this topic. We were going to come on and talk about our local coffee shops. We had made arrangements with Rocket Bakery to be here and had to postpone that one because I got COVID. We had some other family members who also got exposed, but yeah, I was actually not, I think I was feeling better, a little bit better, but still dealing with the effects of that, and didn't want to be out in public. Knew that if I did come out in public and broadcast that day from a public place like this, I would have to come on the air with the mask on and stuff. And it just didn't make sense. Didn't have a lot of time to get prepped and set up for it. So that was why you saw a postponement of this show a couple of weeks back. And then we take the time. And again, you're always very gracious when we do want to take time off to do things with family. So thank you. Okay, that was why that. Now back to local coffee shops. I can recall when we lived in just outside of Portland, as our kids were in middle school and high school, we lived in the Tigard Beaverton area. And there was a shopping center. If you're from that area, Southwest Portland area, you may be familiar with Murray Hill, the Murray Hill neighborhood, and the Murray Hill Shopping Center. And there was, when we were first living in that neighborhood, and for several years, there was an independently owned local coffee shop that was in that shopping center that I can't remember. Again, we'll just kind of look for these places and try them out. And it was interesting because the people that were frequent, that the baristas, the people who were running it, it was kind of like Rocket Bakery is. It was the coffee shop, and they had baked goods in the cases and stuff. But they were all college age, and I think most of them were actually in college, and this was how they were making money and working while they were in college. But this group of young people, and they were fun. They were fun loving. We loved to go in there, get our coffees on a regular basis. And again, they knew us when we come in. They said, do you want the regular? Do you want your regular? When you know that you're in, when you go in someplace and they look up and you say, you're having your regular? Yes. But I remember one of the things we were talking about and laughing about was one of the things that I loved to get there. They had this muffin. It was a cappuccino fudge chunk muffin. That's a mouthful. Cappuccino fudge chunk muffin. So I got to the point, rather than going up with that tongue twister every time, I turned it into a little acronym, and I would go up and order my Kapu Mu. And the first time they were like, what? And I said, the cappuccino fudge chunk muffin, Kapu Mu. Well, after a while, the kids working there would just say, are you having a Kapu Mu? And I say, yes. So I noticed one day when I came in that the little tag that identified the product had the name Kapu Mu on it. So I was responsible for naming a muffin. That's one of my claims to fame. But eventually that closed down. We were sad. We went back to attending the local version of the national chain that was also in the Murray Hills area. And again, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But it is fun to find these places. Now, Rocket Bakery, the cool thing about it, they have, I think, 5 locations around Spokane, independently owned. And the one that we are at here, which is on North Argonne Lane, when we bought our house is just down the hill barely from Alan and Kathy's, our family members who we lived with when we first moved here. And so Rocket Bakery still right down the hill from us. When Nicholas was here visiting a couple of weeks ago, he got into their chocolate fudge cake, which is, they do all their baking fresh daily. They have a location, sort of their central location, as I understand it, their office and their production site, and they do all the baking there. And then each day they get the baked goods, fresh baked goods, out to their various locations. The one here on Argonne Road is their original site. This was the first site, and they're celebrating this year 30 years. They opened in 1992 and still going strong. That says a lot right there. When you think about things that have happened in the world and happened with the economy in the last 30 years, in the last handful of years, and to have a locally owned independent business of any kind still thriving 30 years later says a lot. But it's really cool to come in here as we did this morning and go up to the counter and have these young ladies who are working here just ask if I want the regular. Um, it warms my heart. Well, the coffee warms my heart too, which I did. We got here. We had to get here early to set up. Carissa and I got here at like 7:30 this morning, and I did get my regular. My regular is a peppermint white chocolate mocha. That's my go-to beverage when I go to coffee shops if they can make that. So I had my peppermint white chocolate mocha, and then as we got ready, started that at 7:30. So by the time we're getting to 9:30, that was gone. So I went up and got just my regular brewed coffee because, as has become obvious to you as I'm talking this morning, I still need caffeine in my system. So I've got my regular brewed coffee, which tastes marvelous as well. And I got my snickerdoodle, and I got Carol's scone to take her regular scone to take home to her when we're done here. But there is something about the places that it's the TV show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Don't you find that there is something about that wherever you go, that if you go someplace where everybody knows your name, it takes away any of the sense of really being in a sterile commercial environment? You feel like there's a bit of home, right? Don't you feel that same way? So I'm curious, where are the places for you? Kathy asked the question, Kathy Garlic, are there people in the coffee shop listening to this conversation or trying to have conversations of their own and are testy about you talking, just wondering? I'm certain of it. Actually, right now, it was busy as we were earlier and as we were getting started. I don't know if we chased everybody out. Yeah, but we had set up, we provided signage for the coffee break staff earlier in the week to let them know this would be taking place today. And we provided signage this morning to let people know that we would be doing this. I've got some signage up here at the table. I'll post later on. Carissa took some pictures as we were getting set up. I'll post some of those pictures online later on. Right now, there's only one other person sitting here in this part of the dining area. They've got another part of the coffee shop that's out near the counter where there's some tall tables and some counter space. There may be people sitting there. I can't see them from here, but we also have it set up because of the way my microphone is. I'm really not talking any louder than I would be talking if we were just sitting around this table having a conversation. And when people come in, it very often gets a little bit noisy in here as people are having conversations. So not too concerned about it. I also have a little plastic barrier, a little plastic shield up in front of me here so that it's blocking a little bit of the sound going out. And with the microphone, here's my microphone, by the way, there it is, sitting on the table right in front of me. So I don't think we're doing anything that really disturbs anyone. Although we're very open to people coming over and they want to chat with us in the middle of this, we'll include them in the conversation too. But anyway, I'm curious about your places. Everybody's got those places that you go to. Sometimes it's a restaurant. Sometimes it may not be a coffee shop. It may be a local place. I remember my dad, Frank, when he was living in Beaverton, he had 3 or 4 restaurants that he always went to where all the wait staff knew who he was. Hey, Frank's here. It's like Norm walking into Cheers, literally. But for some of us, and we've got restaurants now that we've started to go to on a more regular basis around here where people may not know our names, but they kind of at least recognize our faces when we come in. But the coffee shops have always been a little bit of a different environment when it comes to that, in that they, the way that they manage customers, the way that they handle this type of thing. And it's sort of with the big name coffee shops. I know it started, Carissa worked for that company, as did Christopher for a while. And there was a big push several years back. I think they were among the early adopters of the idea of learning customers' names and learning customers' drinks so that they did have that sense of relationship. I don't see that with that particular coffee shop as much anymore. Maybe if you really are a regular, and we've got 2 or 3 in the Spokane area, depending on where we're going and what we're doing, that we may stop at and pick up a drink on the way someplace. But we're not going in there as frequently as we are here. Rocket Bakery is the place that we're going to come in and sit down and just have a conversation. We'll come in with family. Carol and I will just come in. We'll come in with Nicholas and get chocolate cake. But it's really that sense of the community, and this becomes sort of a community center. So what are those places for you? What are the places that you like to go to? The coffee shops, the local bakery, and lots of the coffee shops now do have the baked goods. I think that's become more of a norm. I like the fact that this place isn't Rocket Coffee Shop with bakery. It's Rocket Bakery, but the coffee, getting the coffee here and the tea is really one of the key things. You still see, I hardly see anybody come in here and not order a beverage. So it's still the coffee shop atmosphere. And you can't really see that much. You can see, and I think enough behind me, and I'm not going to turn the camera around, but it's a very warm and kind of homey atmosphere. I mean, sort of an older building, but that's okay. It doesn't have that sterile look to it. It's a lot of warm colors, and you just kind of feel like you're hanging out in somebody's dining room a little bit. Right? It's a big dining room, but you can hang out here. So I want to hear from you. I want to know about those local places. If you do live in the Spokane area, I don't think very many of you that are on here do, but if you do, I want to encourage you to patronize Rocket Bakery. Make this a place that you would come. Talk to me if you want to meet here. Glad to meet you for coffee here. If you are in another town, take some time. If it's been a while since you've been out, I know that with COVID and a couple of years, some of us didn't go out to the coffee shops or the restaurants or any place else very much. And if it's been a while since you patronized your local coffee shop or bakery, go out and do that. I think it's important. Okay, we're getting ready to wrap up. We're getting ready to wrap up. Hang on. Yikes. I just kind of closing out here. A little adjustment there. Make my face smaller in conjunction with. Not quite sure what we're doing next week yet. With everything kind of being put on hold, we're in the process of rescheduling topics. And so watch this week. I'll be finalizing next Saturday's topic. We had a couple of guests who were going to be on in previous weeks who had things come up at the last minute that we're working to reschedule. We've got other guests that we've been in touch with that we're looking to schedule. Not every week is a guest, but we're looking at kind of re-looking at the schedule and laying out the topics for the next few weeks. So keep an eye on that. We will be back. If you've got ideas for topics or you've got ideas for guests, many times in the past, our topics and even our guests have come from you. And in some cases from your connections. You've introduced me to somebody who would make a great guest who's in your network, and we've been able to follow up on that. So if you've got ideas for Coffee Breaks with Steve, you can private message me, direct message me with that information. You can email me. You can put it out on the Coffee Breaks with Steve Facebook page and just say, what about this topic? What about this person? Love to get those ideas and to continue to work with you. All right, listen, it's been fun, as it always is. I love to have you on here. Thank you for all the comments. I'll go back and read the ones that I haven't seen yet a little bit later. But listen, it's we have family in town. I mentioned that Carissa and her family are here this weekend. We also have our grandsons. Just got Nicholas home, and then our older grandsons, Remy and Jameson, who, when we were living in California, they're just a half hour away from us, and they were with us just about every other weekend. Remy and Jameson are the ones a couple months ago we took on the East Coast trip, the 2-week trip to several cities on the East Coast, and we were able to work with their family to get Remy and Jameson here. They flew in first time, 12 and 11 years old, first time they flew alone on an airplane, and came up here a couple of days ago. So they are in town. We're planning some adventures for the next couple of weeks. But we will, to the best of my knowledge, we will be on the next couple of Saturdays. But keep watching for the topics. Keep watching for, hey, I see Georgie Dwyer's on here. Hi, Georgie. I didn't see you on here earlier. Thanks for joining in. Just glancing again at the comments on here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. You know that this isn't, it's me talking almost nonstop for 30 minutes, but this is our time together. This is our conversation. I want to thank you for being here. We still have a lot going on in this world. There's good news, there's bad news, there are things that excite us and things that trouble us. And I just want to remind you that for all those things that are going on, you are not powerless. A lot of things that you can do to share your voice, to share your vote, to share the things that you have available that empower you and make you a vital part of the community and the world that you live in. And so I'm just going to remind you, as I often do as we close out today, find a way to make a difference in your world this week. God bless you. Thanks for being here. Have a great week.